Hello and welcome to Sew with Christine. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew a long pencil straight skirt. Now this tutorial is well detailed and easy to understand such that by the time you are done watching this, you'll be able to draft yours and get that perfect fit. So before we continue, I would like you to hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up and share to those that would be interested in watching. And if you want to get updated whenever I post new tutorials, you can turn your post notification bell on. I will be drafting the front part first, so I've gone ahead to fold my fabric in two, and I have the width of the fold to be the quarter of the hip measurement plus the seam allowance. At the top part here, I will go ahead and mark my baseline of 1 inch. Then from this line, I'm going to come downward by 9 inches. This 9 inches will serve as the hip line. For this skirt, I'm not going to be using a waistband. So if you're going to use a waistband, go ahead and minus the width of your waistband from the length of this skirt. After marking the hip line, I marked the next line, which is the underboots. Alright, I didn't even know why I marked this line because since this is the front, I won't be needing that line. So when you are drafting yours, you really do not need to mark the underboot line. Then I marked the knee line. So on this side, I'm just going to repeat the same measurements so that I can draw straight lines over them. From the top part here, I'll go ahead and measure downward to where the length of this skirt would end. Then I added the hem allowance there. Afterwards, I'll just go ahead and connect all the points together. Then this is me trying to label each line so you would understand. I have the waistline, hip line, on UB, which is the underboots, and the knee line. At the waistline there, I'm going to mark the quarter waist measurement and add 1.5 inches for the seam allowance. At the hip line, I'll do the same. For the waistline, if you want to add your darts, you should add 1 inch to that. So by the time you want to sew, you're going to sew your darts. So on the hip line, I marked the quarter hip measurement and added 1.5 inch seam allowance. Then at the knee line, I minus 1.5 inch from the quarter hip measurement. The quarter hip measurement I'm working with here is 12 inches. So I minus 1.5 inches from that. That gives 10.5 inches. So I went ahead and marked down 10.5 inches plus the seam allowance, which is 1.5 inches. Coming to the waistline here, I want to lift this part up by ½ inch. Now this is optional. If you don't want to do this, then it's okay. So I'll go up by ½ inch at the side. Then at the center front, I'm going to come down by ½ inch. Then from this center front, I'm just going to draw a curve this way to meet with the side. After that, I'm going to connect the waist to the hip, down to the knee, then to the hem area. At the knee line here, whatever measurements I have there, I'm going to mark at the hem line. So in total, I have 12 inches, so I'm just going to mark 12 inches and connect downward like so. I'm going to mark 0.5 inch seam allowance at the waistline. After that, I'll go ahead and cut this out. So guys, we are done with the drafting of the front parts. Next, we are going to be drafting the back part of the skirt. The width of the back is bigger than that of the front because we are going to be contouring the back and also for the zipper allowance. Then I will go ahead and mark 1 inch from the top of this fabric to the base. This 1 inch would serve as the zipper allowance. Once I'm done marking, I'm going to rule a straight line over all these marked areas. So note that once we are done contouring, this straight line would be changed to a curved line. Then at the top part, I'm going to mark my 1 inch for the baseline. So from this 1 inch at the baseline there, I'll come down by 9 inches for the hip line. Then I'll go ahead and mark 16 inches for the under boot. For you to get your under boot line, just measure from your waist to your under boot. That's just it. Then I'll take all the necessary measurements down here. Afterwards, I'll just go ahead and draw straight lines like so. So I'm going to label this so you know which line I'm working with. From this part now, that is the under boot line, I'm going to come in by 1 inch from that line there. Then at the waistline, I'll also come in by 1 inch. Then I'll use a curve to connect the waist to the hip line and connect the under boot to the hip line like so. You can see what this looks like. Then I'm going to mark 1 inch downward to the hem. Then I will connect from the under boot to this marked point. So I'm just trying to mark out the hem and the hem allowance there. So next I'm going to redraw my zipper allowance. So just see the way I'm drawing this, and that is it. This is just how to go about this. Now for a smaller boot, you can go in by 0.5 inch to 0.75 inch depending on how big your hip circumference is. I'm going to take the waistline measurement, that's the quarter waist measurement. I'll mark that here. You can see where I'm measuring from. I'm measuring from the line that is inward. Okay, don't touch the zipper, don't measure from the zipper allowance. So from the line that is inward, I'm going to take all my measurements. The quarter hip measurement, just like we did when I was drafting the front part, the knee measurements and the hem. After marking, I'll go ahead and connect all of them. Then at the top part, I'm going to mark ½ inch like we did for the front. Like I said, this is optional. If you want to do this, then it's okay. If you want to skip this part, it's fine. Just ensure you mark your seam allowance at the waistline, which is the remaining ½ inch that we have there. So you can see what we have here. You can see what the back is looking like, the shape. You can see this is totally different from what we had at the front part. So this is how to go about the back and contouring your boots and your waistline. Now that we are done cutting, I'm going to be sewing the center back close. So I'm going to mark where I want my zipper to end. Then from here, I will mark where I want the slit opening to start. So this is where you decide how you want your slit opening to be. Alright guys, I'm done stitching this up and you can see what it looks like. I've fixed the zipper and you can see the slits opening. I've folded the raw edges in. Next, I'll bring the front parts like so. I'll place it over the back one and I'm going to sew from the waist down to the hem on both sides. And here we have it. I am done stitching this. Alright, so next I'm going to be sewing the facing onto this. I didn't use lining for this skirt. If you want to make use of lining, then you can go ahead. For the waistline, if you want to use your bias tape to knitting out the waistline, you can also do that. For this, I will be using a facing. Before I sew the skirt, I use what I've drafted out to cut out the facing. Alright, just like you do your neckline. And here we are, I am done sewing the facing onto this, and I've also understitched the seam onto the lining part. For this to lay very flat onto the skirt, I'm going to be using this hemming glue to gum it. Alright, I'll just iron the hemming gum directly underneath the lining to the main fabric. Once I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and hem the base of this dress. And this is it, guys. We are finally done with this skirt and it came out so beautiful. Look at how neat the waistline is. Look at how smooth and nice this is. Look at the feel. Look at this, the back part and the front. Let me know in the comment section if you're going to be trying this out, alright? And if you have questions regarding this tutorial, feel free to ask them. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.